Hey, what's up? It's Joe back with a new video. So today I'm going to talk about an AWS Lambda hosted Alexa skill with TypeScript boilerplate and also debugging inside of VIM. And it's pretty easy to get it working if you use everything I have here. Actually it took me a while to get it working, but for you it's going to be easy. You just use what I have. But let me just show you that it actually works and how it works, and then I'll explain how to use it and get it set up on your computer. Alright, so let's go to the developer console, and this is like some boilerplate code that I have. And I'm using VIM Spectre, so I'm just going to go ahead and start VIM Spectre right now, which is like debugging inside of VIM. And it started, so basically I am in debug mode, but what I'm going to be able to do is actually debug the Alexa from my local debugger and debug from here, because it uses like the skill ID and it uses your developer account and different things like that. So check this out. So open, I called it my first Joe skill. I don't know why I named it that, just for fun. So normally this would just return back something quickly, but it's hesitating because I'm already been caught by the debugger. And if I look here, I can actually see there's a value. What's up? Can I help you today? I'm just going to go ahead and skip to
What's
that.
up? Can I help you today?
Maybe you can help me, but maybe not. I don't know. Let's just say bye, because I don't feel like dealing with you right now. And it's, it's going to the debugger. That's why it's hesitating. If I go here, I guess you don't want to talk anymore. Probably not. Just going to go ahead and skip that. Oops, skip that.
I guess you don't want to talk anymore.
Right, so that is debugging inside of VIM with an Alexa skill, and the code is actually all written in TypeScript. If you were to look here and look at my index, well, I'm already in my index, it's all in TypeScript. And this is like the JavaScript portion of it, and the mapping, and so on and so on. So how did I get this to work, and how can you get this to work? So I'm going to try to make this video as short as possible, but still explain some stuff that you need to know. Alright, so this is all on my GitHub. I will put the link inside of YouTube so you can go ahead and get it. I have two folders here, and I have my README, which I actually just updated the README. So you're going to need VIM Spectre. VIM Spectre is how you debug in VIM, at least how I debug in VIM. Maybe there's a different way. And VIM Spectre has 3 ways to install it that it says on the site. You can do that. I actually use something similar to this, but I don't actually have Bundle. I have Vim Plug, which is very similar to Bundle, except the IN is missing when you put this in your Vim RC file. And then you just use however you use it to install it, but you can also use these other options. But basically, you just need to get VIM Spectre inside of Vim, and you can install it however you want. The video is not about installing VIM Spectre. You're going to need an AWS setup. So you're going to have an AWS IAM user. This is how it's going to end up creating the AWS Lambdas to host your skill. You're going to have to give it programming access. So you're going to need some access keys. You're going to make sure that your credentials are correct. Come on. Make sure that you're using the right credentials. If I look here, you're going to pretty much need these credentials. Or you can just give it admin access, and that pretty much covers everything. The only thing about admin access is now you pretty much said, hey, this user can do anything that it wants because it's an admin. So it's up to you. You're going to have AWS CLI set up. I actually explained how to create an account with AWS like a while ago. Back in 2020, AWS Lambda Part 1. So you can basically just go there, see how to go in and create an account. And at the end of that, it shows you how to configure the AWS, which is going to give you the programmatic access, because you have to put in your access keys and your secret key. All right, so that's explained there. You're also going to have an Amazon developer account. You can go here to get the account. They are free. And you're going to have to also get the AWS ASK CLI. So you need the CLI for AWS install, and you need the CLI for ASK install. And now let's go through how the different parts of the scripts work. So these are all the different scripts that you would need to do all the different things that you need to do. So I'll just go through one by one. The access token get, this is assuming that you're using ZSH, so it's going to look for a ZSHRC file. But if you want to use bash, you can use it as well. Just change this to bashrc because I didn't write it to handle both. I just kind of wrote it for how I use it. But you're welcome to change it as much as you want. So all it does is just goes in and get the token that's inside of your ZSHRC file by looking for this line and then grabbing the token from it. So that's why it assumes that you have that line inside of your code or inside of your ZSHRC. This is how it sets the token. It also assumes that you have that same line. Pretty much it assumes you have something like this inside of your ZSHRC. And it's going to go in and use the ask CLI and generate a new token for you. And then based on that token, it's going to get it back, script that token out of here, and then replace that. Pretty much replace this value with whatever the new token is. And that's how we're going to be able to debug, because we're going to actually get the tokens. And this is the ID. This is pretty much how you get the ID of your skill. You need a skill ID. VIM Spectre, which is what you use for the debugger, needs this ID to be able to debug as well. So it's going to just take the skill name, give it past whatever skill name you need to pass it, and it's going to go in. It's going to also assume that you have JQ installed. That's just like how to basically go into JSON and pull stuff out pretty easily, which is what I'm doing here. And this is going to return the skill ID if it's found. If not, it's going to return not found. Hopefully it is found because it needs it to be able to do everything. And the last thing is these boilerplate setup. This basically is just going to go through here and go inside of here, copy all of this code if you have it saved locally, and go in and do some replacements of certain files to get the names that you want to have, because right now we don't want everybody having the same name of their skill, because then if you try to open it, everybody be trying to open the same skills and it's just not going to work. Because a skill is kind of like a URL. They're very unique. Let's see, what am I trying to say? Oh yeah, so it's just going to go ahead and run, and it's going to do an npm install, so install all the packages that you need, and you can also do a build deploy. So basically it just needs a directory, a skill name, and if you want to have it deploy, you just put deploy. And that's pretty much it for that. And let's just go through the code real quick. Not everything. This is just a really like stripped down minimum stuff you need to get like a skill working. So if I go to my ask resources, it's going to be doing it inside of Node.js 18. I have it at ECUS 1. The VIM Spectre is already rolled out for you. This is what VIM Spectre needs to be able to actually do the debugging. So you can create variables inside of VIM Spectre. So it's going to say the access token is going to run that script that I have, which is why you need it. And all of my scripts are in .local/bin, and you can put your scripts wherever you want. If you do not put it in this location, you also need to update this as well. So it's just going to say this is how it's going to get the access token, which we talked about earlier. This is how it's going to go ahead and get the skill ID, and you need to pass a name for the skill ID. And then inside of that boilerplate script is actually going to replace this name to whatever new name you give it. All right, and this is your access token. This is your skill ID. Okay, inside the Lambda, I also have some functions. You have your tsconfig, because everything is written in TypeScript, and then it's going to go ahead and compile down to JavaScript, but you're able to debug straight from TypeScript. All right, so I have some scripts in here as well. Basically, this just does all of the building, and this actually deploys it off to the Alexa developer account with the ask deploy. And this here is gonna build final, compile, just different things it needs to do to get everything working. I normally only run this build by itself. It's when I'm making local changes and I want to see my local changes when I'm debugging. I need to build it again to get my new local changes, build out. Okay, so I think that is pretty much it. Like an overview, and it has more details in here, and I kind of just wrote this because I initially created this for myself, but I decided to share it. So if it's missing something, my apologies. You can always try to ask me, leave a comment or something, and I'll try to answer. I'm trying to get better at responding to people, so my apologies. All right, so that's pretty much it of that. So let's just exit out of here. So we're just gonna create a brand new one. Like we're just gonna do a new one. All right. So let's say we are. So right now I'm in some folder. This is just like a folder I'm creating. Excuse me, a folder I have just for like playing around and testing stuff. So first thing you're gonna need to do is clone this. So wherever you decide to clone this, you need to make sure that, well, I think the best thing to do is clone this inside of your home directory, because I'm assuming that it's going to be in your home directory if you look at this script here. But if you need to change it, again, you have to update the script. So here is copying all of that data, that whole the boilerplate. Probably could actually just pull this down from curl, and then I wouldn't have to worry about having it saved locally. But for this case, I just have it saved locally. So if I was copying it, if I go to my ask helpers, which I already have, because I already did the git clone, and I go cd ask helpers. Well, I didn't actually really do a git clone because I already created it, because this is where I actually created all of the data, and then I just push it up to Git. But for you to get it on your computer, you need to do a git clone. And then once you get it, it's going to go in and do some replacements and stuff. So let's just test it out. So if I was running this like from here, I'll probably say this, and I'll say scripts, and then, you know, whichever script I want to run. And then I'll probably say I want to do the setup, and then I'll give it some variables. It says missing a param directory. And if I give it some directory, it's missing the skill name. All right. So actually, I already have all of these scripts able to be run from anywhere, because I have it in my path. So for me, I'm just going to actually just say ask boilerplate setup, and let's say the directory, I'm going to put it inside of. Let's just go to this directory first. So I'm going to say ask boilerplate setup. The directory, I'm going to call it JDB skill tests. And then the skill name, I'm going to say JDB skill tester. All right. And I'm not going to pass in deploy because I want to actually show you that step. So right now it's basically going in, grabbing all of the files from there. It's doing some replacements, and I'll show you these files of how I got replaced. All right, so now if I go in, and also did npm install, by the way. So now if I go into here and I go cd, because that file, that directory or project has been created, skill tests. I go here, now I can see, okay, so fine, I'm not even talking to you. If I go to the skill package and I go to skill.json, I can see that now my new name is JDB skill tester because that got updated. If I go to my VIM inspector.json, I can see that my JDB skill tester is here because this is my skill ID that I'm going to name it. And if I go to my package.json, I can see where is it? Package.json. Oh yeah, and I just named the name here, JDB skill tester. All right, and then if I go inside of my en-us.json, if I go here, I just gave it a name, JDB skill tester. It basically just stripped out the underscores and gave it a JDB skill tester as the name. So when you're trying to open up the skill, you'd be like, open JDB skill tester. All right. So now that I have that, I pretty much have everything that I need. But let's just say, for instance, you didn't have the ask configure, the Alexa skill kit configure. So if I say ask configure, right now I already have it set up, and if I use this, I'm just going to pretend I'm doing it for the first time, right? I'm doing it here. It's going to tell me to log in. So So I'm going to go here, oops, go here, and then log in. Oh, no. So allow that. Now I'm logged in and say, do you want to link your AWS account in order to host your Alexa skill? Yes. And then these are my different users that I have. I'm going to use this JB AWS. So like this is why you need the AWS account set up, and you need to configure your AWS because it's pulling in my AWS credentials that I have. And I'm going to use a JB AWS. So now that I have that, that's all been set up. So now if I go back here and let's just go in here. If I look at my package here, right? I have this script here, this build deploy. So this build deploy is going to use ask, and now that I set it up in the CLI, it's going to know which account to use to get all this stuff pushed out. So let's just go to a terminal and let's just say cd lambda and let's say npm run build deploy. It's building, it's doing the stuff that it needs to. And then while that's doing that, because that's going to take a while, let me also show this here. This default profile matches, oh, it's not even there no more. But this default profile matches the ask CLI profile. So if you're using default, make sure it's default. But if you give it a different name, it needs to match because the ASK profile, it needs to know which profile it's going to use. All right, so that's why I'm using default, because in here I already had it set up as default. Alright, so that's still probably going because it's doing a bunch of stuff. It's uploading the entire skill package out to Alexa skill developer account, and it's also going to push the Lambda out to AWS. So it's doing a couple of things, and it's just going to show you that everything has been done. It takes a while, and I'm probably going to speed through this part of the video. Alright, so everything has been done, it's been pushed out. So now what I can do is I can actually go to the developer console. And if I just go to my skills, you should see a new skill here, JDB skill tester, which is the one I just created. If I click on here, so you can see it's been pushed out, and I can go to test to test the skill. And now if I just do something, open JDB skill tester, which I think that was the name I gave it.
What's up?
Can I help you today?
Can I help you today?
Let's say bye. So right now
I guess you don't want to talk
it's
anymore.
not running locally, it's just running. But now if I want to run it locally, I can go in and I can say, so I can do it two ways. So I actually have something like this. I actually have this here. I have a command as leader ATS, which actually just runs the script ask access token set. So I can just do leader ATS and it's going to run it for me when I'm in command mode. But if you don't have this, then go to your terminal and then run your script. But in my case, I'm going to, am I in the right file? Yeah, I'm in the right file. So I'm going to go ahead and run it here. So I can say ASTS. Oops. Wait, what is it? ATS, yeah. Sorry, leader ATS. Just got confused for a second. So yeah, so that's running. And again, it's gonna ask me to open up the browser. Do I want to allow it? Yes. So now that pretty much set the token inside of your ZSHRC file, right? So now I'm gonna actually run VIM debugger, which is VIM Spectre. So now I'm gonna go ahead and go into my source and go into the index. I'm gonna just set a breakpoint here. And then now that I'm gonna run it, I have a lot of commands that do all this stuff, but if you wanna know how to use VIM Spectre, There are a lot of things that teach you out there, but if it's something that you want me to talk about, just let me know in the comments and I'll do like a quick video on VIM Inspector. But now it's running, and if I go here and I do the same thing that I just did, because I'm inside of my JDB skill tester, if I say open JDB skill tester, it should get me in here. As you can see, it did. What's up? Can I help you today? All right. So now let's say,
can I help you today?
That I wanted to make a change inside of here. I'm gonna stop VIM Inspector for a second. Let's say I wanted to change something locally, and I didn't want to push it out. I just want to change it locally and test it locally. What's up? Can I help you today or later today? I save it. What I'm gonna do is go ahead and run. I'm gonna run the build, just the build. I'm not gonna do the build deploy, but just the build. And so npm run build. So now I made that change. It's building it. Shouldn't take too long to build. Pretty much just taking the TypeScript. Taking it through tsconfig. You're using the tsconfig and then building it out into JavaScript and updating them, the mappings and all that good stuff. So now that that has been built, I can go in and restart VIM Inspector. And remember, I made the change that says, what's up, can I help you today or later today, where before it was just, what's up, can I help you today? So now if I go here, you can see it here, it should change. So open. Let's see, if I go, it still was already open, so let me just skip through
There was a problem communicating with the requested skill.
All right, that's fine. JDB skill tester. Oops, if I can spell.
I can't find that skill. To find skills.
What's up? Can I help you today or later today? So I just made a local update and was able to now test it here. And that's actually pretty cool because you can do a lot of updates and just start testing it and save you a whole bunch of time in development.
Can I help you today or later today?
And that's pretty much all I have. The last thing I will say is that this can be done VS Code because they already have it. There's a lot of stuff that's already set up to make it work in VS Code. But for myself, I personally enjoy working in VIM, and I wanted to be able to do everything inside of VIM. And I am new to Alexa skill development. Actually, for the past 6 months, I've been trying to learn as much as I can. So I'm still learning, but I do plan on releasing some Alexa skills pretty soon. And with that being said, I'm just gonna go ahead and just end this video, and hopefully you learned something. Give me a like, give me a subscribe, whatever you feel, and make sure you grab the code if you're going to use it and change it if you need it. If you have any questions, just put it up on YouTube, and I promise I'm going to get better at responding to these questions. All right, and that's it. Peace out.